So now that we know what is Agentforce, how Agentforce really works, and what are the different types or what are the different attributes of an AI agent, and what is topic, what is instructions, what is action, now is the time to create first custom AI agent, right? Let's create one custom AI agent. So here in this my org, I have created one application named with Krazy Cloud, and in this app I have four objects: courses, batches, student, and faculties. Right. So let me explain you the basic data model of this application. One course can have multiple batches, and one faculty can also have multiple batches, and one batch can have multiple students. Right. So batch is the child of course and faculties, and student is the child of batch. Right. So batch is the child of course and faculty, and batch is the parent of student. So this is what the basic data model looks like. Now let's create an AI agent to answer some student queries, right? So for now we'll just take a basic example. So let's suppose I will create an AI agent that will provide the output of, let's see. Hmm. So into my batch we have different fields like batch name, course, faculty, start date, end date, and what is the delivery mode, right? So I'll just create one agent to which you can answer, you can ask the delivery mode of any batch, right? So this is the basic, very basic custom agent, right? We'll definitely go advanced in the next videos, but for now, this, as this is our first custom agent, let's take a basic example, right? So as a customer, as a student, I will just provide an user prompt that what is the delivery mode of this batch, any batch, right? So the AI agent will provide me the delivery mode of this, of that particular agent, right, of that particular batch, right? Now, to achieve this requirement, what we are going to do, we are just going to create one apex action, right? We will create one apex action which will take batch name as a parameter and will provide the delivery mode as an output, right? As simple as that, right? We'll create one apex class which will take batch name as a parameter and will provide delivery mode as an input. Okay. Now when we create one agent, we create topic, we create action, and this apex action, right? So first we will create an apex action, and that action can be added to the topic we are creating, right? So first let's create one action, right? So here in this org I have already created an action for this video. So this is just a basic class batch information, and this is an invocable method. Let me explain you one thing. We know that if you want to call any apex class from flow, that should be an invocable method, right? Now the same thing applies to the agent builder as well, right? So whenever you are trying to call any apex class or any apex action using your agent, make sure that is invocable, that is annotated by invocable method, right? So this is the first step, right? Now I have given this label, I have given this description. Label is nothing but get batch delivery mode. Description says that this method returns the mode of given batch name. For example, user can ask what is the mode of Salesforce admin. See, I have written it very clear that, for example, user can ask what is the delivery mode of Salesforce admin, right? Now this is just a basic class. It is accepting a list of string. Why list of string? Because it is an invocable method, right? And an invocable method cannot have just a normal string, right? It should have a list of string. Why? Because invocable method does not accept uh, just a normal string batch name or something like this, right? Now we are giving a list of string as an input, and based on that I'm just getting the batch details, that select id delivery mode from batch, where batch name is batch name 0, right? We will only give one batch name, right? So we'll fetch that name with the 0th index, right? Now I'm just returning a new list of string. Also the same thing with the output as well, right? It cannot the invocable method cannot uh, send the output just as a string. It has to do it in list of string, right? Now I'm just sending the output as batch dot delivery mode. and here's a catch block which will return if there is any exception, right? Now let's go. Now if we have created this apex action, now it's time to create one agent, right? So to create an agent, you just have to go to setup, go to Agentforce agents, just like this, Agentforce agents. When you click on this, you will land into this page. Here we have a new button, see, new agent, right? Let's click on this, and there are few steps to create an agent. The first step is to select the template, or if you want to create it with Gen AI. For now, let's create from a template, right? So we have two types of template. One is agent for setup, one is agent for service agent, right? What is the difference between these two? Agent for setup is nothing but your employee agent. Agent for service agent is nothing but the agent which you can deploy to multiple channels, right? Simplify agent for setup says that simplify administrative task with agent for setup, this and this is. So for now, let's create agent for service agent. Select your agent's topics. So by default, Salesforce provides us, when you create an agent, Salesforce provides us few topics, right? If you want to keep these topics, you can keep this. If you don't want to keep these topics, you can remove by clicking on this edit button, right? Let me just remove these topics. You can go through these topics, that this is a case management topic, and this is account management, resolution management. So these are something, right? So I'll just remove all of these topics and click on next, right? Now we have to provide, so while creating an agent, we know that we have to provide description, title, scope, actions and instructions. So this is what it is asking us. So what should be the name of your agent force a service agent, agent force agent, right? Let's say uh, my first custom agent. So let's, the API name would be this. Description, what should be the description of this agent, right? So deliver personalized, so I'll just write it as, this agent is used to provide batch information, right? Now the role, what is the role of this agent, what the job is of this agent should be. The job of this agent is to take an user input, and based on that input, it has to, or let's say that we can have multiple topics, so let's not do this. This agent is used to provide batch related information only. Okay. Company, what is the company details of this agent? Let's say Crazy Cloud. Crazy Cloud is a company. Agent user. Now let's talk about this field. What is the agent user, right? So agent user defines that uh, onto like on which user, let's say it agent user basically defines that what access this agent would have, right? So there is a user in your Salesforce org, there is an agent. You always have to associate one user to this agent, right? Why? Because this agent will always follow the security settings of this particular user. That is why we have to provide an user to an agent, right? So that it will work, or it will represent that particular user, right? This is what agent user is. So if I cross this, we have Einstein service agent. This is already created, so I'll not select this. I'll just go to new agent user, right? This is my agent. I have only created this agent, so not worry about this. Let's select new agent user, and you will only get those user into this lookup which have the which have the agent profile, right? There's a profile. I do not remember that profile. Let me just go to users. Okay, so this Einstein agent user profile, right? So you can always only have those user into this lookup box which have the Einstein agent user profile, right? That's why we are only getting this Einstein service agent user here, right? I'm not getting yes city user because it is not a or not associated with the Einstein agent user profile. That is a system admin, right? So if you want your user to appear over here, you have to provide that particular profile, right? So for now, let's create a new agent user. Once I click on next, it will create one new agent user for me, right? So there is a checkbox, keep a record of conversation with enhanced event logs to review agent behaviors, right? What does that mean? So whatever your agent, let's say you are you are having a conversation with your agent, right? So do you want to store that conversation for future updation, or let's say for feedbacks or something? Do you want to store that conversation? If yes, then check it. If no, then leave it, right? Also, if you check this event logs consumes data cloud credits, right? So we do not have any cloud credits. I will just leave this as it is. Now we have to select the data source, right? So turn on the data cloud. Do you want this agent to access your data cloud, or do you want this agent to have access to your data cloud object? If not, then just leave it. I do not have any data cloud right now. Let's go. So here you have successfully created your first custom agent, right? Now you are onto this agent builder screen. We are very much familiar with this screen, right? Now when you create one agent, you have to assign some topics to this, right? So let's create one topic now. New topic. So to create a topic, you have to click on new. And also, if you want to make any changes into this particular agent, whether it is related to the topics, whether it is related to instructions, actions, anything, make sure that your agent is deactivated, right? Now to topic, add one topic to this agent, I'll just click on this new button. Add from asset library. Do you want that you would want to add some standard topics? If yes, then you can add it from this asset library. If no, then just create your custom topic. Now this particular text box is optional to fill, but what happens whenever you provide some information about this topic onto the next screen, you will not really have to fill all the fields. What fields? These: description, scope, actions, and instructions. These will be auto filled with Gen AI, right? So this is optional, but let's see how it works. This topic is used to get the batch information. The user may ask about, now let's see, this topic will provide the delivery mode of a batch by its by its name, and or let's say by batch name, to be very specific and clear. Batch name, and providing the batch name is required, right? That is not an optional field. Okay, now let's click on next. Based on this user prompt, it will auto generate the name, classification, description, scope, and everything, instructions. So you see, now although that was an optional field, if you want to edit these all fields, you can of course do that, right? So based on your user prompt on the previous screen, it has named it as batch delivery mode information. Let's keep it as it is. If you want to make some changes, you can always do that like this, right? The classification description, what does that mean? Classification description is something that your Atlas reasoning engine will look for. So whenever you have multiple topics into an agent, your classification description decides, or Atlas reasoning engine decides which topic to pick by using this classification description, right? So make sure it is very much clear what your agent's topic is, right? So this topic provides the delivery mode of a batch by batch name. It is triggered when users inquires about batch delivery details, right? It is also fine. Scope is nothing but the boundary of or role of your custom agent. Your job is to provide, the job is only to retrieve and provide. See, your job is only to retrieve and provide the delivery mode only, right? This will not this will not answer any other question if it is not about delivery mode, right? When a batch name is given, provided. Here are some instructions. Instructions are nothing but some rules that your agent has to follow. Request the batch name from the user to proceed. Verify the batch name provided by the user. You have to verify. If it is not correct, then you should give the error. Retrieve the delivery mode information using the batch name. If the batch name is not provided, ask the user to provide it, right? If you do not provide any batch name, it will ask you again. If the batch name is invalid, inform the user and request a valid batch name, right? So these are also fine. If you want to add some instructions, you can add. If you want to remove some instruction, you can remove it from here. Even if you want to make some changes into these instructions, you can always do that, right? Next, do you want to add, okay, now if you have provided this, right, action is remaining, right? So if you want any action, any standard action or any pre-created custom actions to add into this topic, do you want any action to be associated with this topic? For now, we did not created any action, so let's skip it for now. Finish, right? So now, topic overlap detected, overlapping, yeah, ignore. Okay, so now we have created one topic, but this agent will not work. Why? Because we do not have any action. Even if you ask anything to it, it will not provide any output. Why? Because it cannot call any action, because we do not have any action associated with this particular topic, right? We cannot see any topic, any action here, right? So now our agent has one topic, and when you click on this topic, you can see that two types are there: topic configuration and topics action. Topic configuration are nothing but these instructions, topics, these classification, description, scope, instructions, right? Now let's create one topics action, right? So here we have already created one apex class. I'll just add this apex class into that action, nothing else, right? So I'll just create one action. If you want to create a new action, add from asset library or add from agent exchange, right? So there are three options. Do you want to create your own action? Add from asset library. uh, Asset library is nothing but standard action provided by Salesforce, right? Do you want to use that? I'll say no. Do you want any action to be used from agent exchange? Agent exchange is the platform, just like app exchange, where we can find some different actions created by multiple people and deployed over there, right? So I'll just create a new action for now. What is the reference action type? See, when you create a custom action, you have to define whether it is an apex action, flow action, API action, or prompt template, right? So these four options are there. For now, I'll just select apex action, reference category, whether it is an apex rest callout or it is an invocable method, right? I'll just select invocable method and click on sorry, reference action, which so in this org I have created two invocable methods. That's why I have two options over there. But for now, our action name is get batch delivery mode, right? So I'll just select that one, get batch delivery mode. This is agent action label. If you want to change it, you can change it. I'll just leave it as if now. Now This has some agent action configuration. What should be the instructions to that? Do you want to show the loading text for this section? Or let's explain it one by one, right? Let me explain this one by one. This is instruction. This method returns the mode of given batch name. For example, user can ask what is the mode of Salesforce admin. From where this line is coming, I did not type it. I did not ask any Gen AI to produce this line. No, right? I did not do that. So from where this line is coming? So this line is coming from your apex class description, right? So this is the best practice. You always should follow this. So whenever you are creating any invocable method, you have to provide description. Not you have to, but you should provide the description. Even if you do not provide any description, it is completely fine. But if you provide the description, it will auto populate it over there, right? Again, if you want to change this, you can change this, right? But for now, I'll just keep it as of now as it is. Now, do you want to show any loading text for this section? So once a user is asking, let's say, what is the delivery mode of Salesforce admin, right? Now that AI agent will call this apex class, right? So while this is calling the apex class, do you want any loading text to be appear? If yes, then select this. And what should be the loading text? Let's say uh, getting batch delivery mode, right? Now input and output, we have two sections over here. So input is nothing but your apex classes input. So here we have one input only, right? We have to provide one input, which is list of string as batch names, right? So the same thing is appearing over here. Instructions, what instruction do you want to, what should be the rule, right? So the batch name should be valid and it is a required field, or let's say required input, right? Should it be required? Even if you do not click on this, you can make it required onto the instructions level, right? What instructions level? When you created that topic, you can provide one instruction that the batch name is compulsory or that batch name is required, right? So even if you do not click onto this, you can always make fields required onto instructions level. But for now, let's click on this as well. Collect data from users, yes, because we are creating this as required input. You can collect the data from user, or even if you do not want to do that, just leave it. Then we have output. Output is nothing but the same thing, list of string, right? Now what is the output? The output is the delivery mode of provided batch name, right? That was a normal string text type. These are auto populated, right? Filter from agent action, do you want it to filter from any agent action? If yes, then check it. If no, then leave it. Show in conversation. So so you and your agent is having a conversation, do you want this output to show by the agent to this user onto this conversation? If yes, then click it. But let's suppose we have 5 outputs of this apex class. At least one should always clicked as show in conversation, right? You cannot have 0 output as show in conversation. For now we only have one, so we have to click on this show in conversation, right? What should be the output rendering? Do you want to it for text or rich text? Rich text means that if you are returning any HTML code and do you want it to show like that, then you can click on rich text, or that rich text field, right? Or just a normal text. So we'll just click on normal text. Let's keep this unchecked and see what error is coming. Let's click on finish. You see, enable the show in conversation setting for at least one output, right? So at least one output should always have show in conversation. So let's click on finish. The actions API name is already in use. Go back for the, okay, let me just edit this. Actions API name, that would be on the delivery mode test. This is the API name, right? That was just a label. It is coming in Chinese now. I don't know why, but for now let's click on finish. Complete all required fields. Mm, this is the input required input of batch name. Require input, yes. The output is the delivery mode of provided batch name, right? Else everything is fine. Show in conversation, finish. Complete all required fields. What else is remaining? Loading text. Getting the batch delivery mode. Finish. The page has an error. You might need to refresh it. What is wrong with Salesforce? Reload. Okay, so here we have created one agent, we have created topic, we have created description, scope, actions, we have created one apex action as well, right? Now let's test this agent, right? So if you want to test this agent, you have the conversation preview where you can test your created agents, right? So let's see. Let's first ask it about something which is not into the scope of this agent, right? So let's say how many students are there. Let's see if it answers this. Could you please provide more details than this, or let's say faculties F1, right? What is the name of F1 faculty? Could you please provide the more details of this, right? So it cannot access that particular data, that's why it is not returning any answer. Let's see what is the delivery mode of any batch name. Let's give it the batch the delivery mode is online, right? So it should return us online. Could you please provide the batch name for which you need the delivery mode information? I am providing the batch name now. Okay. So what might be the problem here is, see, the reasoning engine is not able to get that particular action. See, we have three instructions. It is following all the instructions. If you click on this, we have these instructions. So when the user is giving it a prompt as what is the delivery mode, it is selecting the correct topic, it is executing all the five instructions, C1 2 3 4 5, but it cannot access any action, right? Why? Because this particular agent user do not have the permission of apex class, right? So let's see what is the username. So we have created one agent user, right? Agent user agent, go to the agent users and give it a the apex class access, right? Okay, so here are two, my first custom agent, right? So this one is the user. Click on this, and when we create when we create a custom user, it will auto assign some permission sets to this. Let's use the permission set to give the access, right? So I have just opened one of those permission sets. I'm giving the apex class access into this permission set. See, what we have discussed, every agent must be associated with one user. Why? Because that particular agent will always follow the security settings of this user. That is why it is needed, right? Now this particular user is not having the apex class access, that is why we are not getting that delivery mode, right? Now I'm just giving the apex class access to this user, not to this agent, right? You cannot give any apex class access to the agent. You have to provide the apex class access to the user associated with this agent, right? So here in this user we have two permission sets auto created. I'm just using one of those permission set. You can assign any permission set you want, or if you want to create one new permission set, you can also do that. Now let me check. So the batch information is the class. Let's save this. Right now we have provided the apex class access. Now let me just copy this prompt and refresh this. Now let's see whether it is giving the correct output or not. See, the delivery mode of the Agentforce May 2025 is online, right? So this is how it works. Let's see if it can answer some more questions or not. Let's see what is the start date of the same batch. What is the start date? I can only provide the delivery mode of a batch. Why? Because set we have created a boundary around this agent that you can only answer the question, you can only answer the delivery mode of a batch. You cannot go beyond that, right? So this is what a scope of this. So if you go to this topic, so when we created this agent, we have provided a role. See, this agent is used to provide batch related information only, right? And this batch has some topics, and one of the topics says that your job is only to retrieve delivery mode, only to retrieve the delivery mode, right? So that is why it is saying that I can only provide the delivery mode of a batch, nothing else, right? So this is how it works. This is how you create your first AI agent, right? Not first, all the agents can be created like this only. And see, here we have the plan ID, we have the user prompt, select topic. So our Atlas reasoning engine is selecting a topic. For now we only have one topic, that's why it has selected this only. Will follow all the instructions. It will execute the correct action. For now we only have one action, that's why it is executing this. But even if you have multiple action, it can select the one. And then reasoning engine is providing the answer, right? So this is how it works.